Hi, my name is Erica Ellsworth, and this is my learning teaching interaction number 3. I'm going to go ahead and start off with week number 6. The first question that I thought about and answered is, what is the purpose of program evaluation? And for me, I believe that the purpose for the program evaluation is to find better ways to improve the program so that it can reach its full potential and be able to better help the participants and future clients. The second question I answered is, why is it important to have a clear understanding of your vision and the program goals and objectives of your FLE program before assessing the FLE program? And for me, I believe that it's important to have a clear vision, goals, and objectives because that helps you have a meaning behind the work that you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. But I also think that it also helps you know how to better assist the program and where to really figure out where your work is needed the most. The third question I answered for week number 6 is, what are some basic things about your family life education program you would like to know in order to improve the program's effectiveness? And what questions would you need to have answered in order to improve the program? For me, I think it's always very important to find out how comfortable the participants are and were during the teachings and the lessons, and how effectively we were able to answer their questions. I would need to have the answers in order to improve the program. Is, how comfortable did you feel, asking us questions and joining in the discussion with us as the educators. And I would also ask them if all their answers were, or all their questions were fully answered, and if they had any other pertaining questions that they were able to, feel comfortable enough to ask them. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to week 7. The first question I answered is, how can the FLE Code of Ethics strengthen your practice and the relationships with those whom you teach? For me, I believe the FLE Code of Ethics can add a lot to the practice and relationship you have with your clients and participants for multiple reasons. First, it can strengthen the practice especially when at the base of your practice is a strong ethic, morals, and code of ethics, and strong standards that you've signed to live by and you believe to live by. And having this, I believe, falls into the second reason is it strengthens relationships because those standards are there to help the participants feel they can trust us with our information and with what we're presenting to them, that we're giving them the best quality we can, and that we really value their family and really truly want to help them. The second question I answered is, what question do you have related to the Code of Ethics for FLE? And for me, my biggest question I have is, there are some instances where different codes kind of go against each other a little bit. So my main question is if there is any code of ethic that has priority other code of ethics, or is it all just depending on the situation? The next question I answered is, how is your value system likely to influence you as you teach? My value system, it affects everything I do in my life, from how I drive my car, how I treat people at home, how I make decisions at the grocery store. So it definitely does influence the way I teach. And every decision I make, I already said that. And then in the teaching situation, when, if I'm asked a question or presented a different scenario with a client that I'm working with, the way I will go about answering those questions and that situation and scenario is based off of my values and how I believe and the system I follow by. The next question I answered from week 7 is how would you approach working with someone who has a very different, even contradicting values from your own? I always find it very interesting and a great learning experience for me to work with people who have different values and value systems than me. It can definitely be harder, but I think it's very important, especially being an educator, to know of different value systems and know how other people view things, and have the understanding that just because you believe one way and you have that value system, it does not mean that everyone views the same way or has the same feelings towards it. I've learned a lot from working with people from different value systems, and I've actually kind of taken part of their values, like, oh, I really like how they do this, and it's because of this that they do this, so I'm going to try to influence it. When it contradicts each other, it can be difficult teaching and trying to educate, but I think it's a great learning experience for both parties, the participant and educator, if they're both willing to share about their value systems and why they believe that, so you can get to know the other better and an understanding of where they're coming from. And I know as an educator, being able to know where your client or participant is coming from will help you get through to them a little better, and you might format your lessons based on that. I'm going to go ahead and move to week 8. The first question I answered is, why is it so important that whatever our training is, we understand our limits and boundaries when working with families? I think that this is one of the most important things that we need to follow, is our limits and boundaries. I am a licensed esthetician, and part of skincare is keeping a balanced diet and making sure we're getting enough vitamins in our system and not eating a lot of garbage. However, I cannot give nutrition advice to clients because that's not where, yes, I've learned about it, but I'm not licensed. I don't continually have to go be educated on new techniques and new methods of what we need to eat, and so I don't have, professionally, I cannot give nutrition advice. That I can suggest going to a nutritionist, but I cannot give them that advice. And that, this can be applied to being an FLE versus a family therapist. A family therapist is there to intervene with the family and try to mend issues that are currently there. But as a family life educator, our goal is to really teach families the knowledge and skills that they need in order to get over those issues. We're not there to necessarily counsel them or tell them, to be a therapist. We're not there to do that. We're there to give them the skills so that they're able to, learn from them and hopefully apply them to their family. The second question I answered is does the Myers-Walls article help you see why it is so important as a FLE to not slide into the role of counselor/therapist? For me, I think it is very important not to slide into the role of, a therapist as an FLE, because it's not our responsibility or our why to intervene in a family's life to resolve issues. It is our why is to foster knowledge and skills to families so that they're able to have these teachings and be able to apply it in their life. It is not our responsibility to intervene and try to mend issues. And I think if we try to border on that, there's kind of there could be trust issues. That's not what we were hired. That's not what our goal is. Our goal isn't to fix the issues. Our goal is to help the family give the knowledge and skills so that they can work on it if they're able. And, you can always recommend going to a therapist if that's what's needed. But those are definitely lines that should not be crossed. But I thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry if it was a little rough. Thank you.